Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, November the 18th. An active weather pattern across the nation over the next several days. Really have two different major storm systems to talk about. The first one will slam into the Pacific Northwest and impact areas from Northern California to Oregon to Washington from later tomorrow into the day on Wednesday. That will produce some heavy coastal rainfall, some heavy inland snows, and strong winds all the way, again, from Northern California to the Canadian-U.S. border. Another major storm system will unfold over the northeastern states by the end of the week here, really impacting places like the Mid-Atlantic region and Northeast U.S. from Wednesday night all the way into the upcoming weekend. Initially, there will be rain across much of the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S., but as colder air wraps in, certainly can get some accumulating snows in those higher elevations from, let's say, upstate PA to especially to upstate New York and interior New England. And strong northwest winds will be on the backside of the storm for an extended period of time because it will be a slow mover. Let's start off here by looking at the total snowfall forecast map from last night's 0Z run of the GFS for the next 10 days. We'll kind of see the impact of these two different storm systems. Again, the one in the Pacific Northwest and the one ultimately making its way to the Northeast. First of all, look at the snow here in some of these areas here, these higher elevation locations from the Sierra Nevada mountains all the way into those higher elevation areas of Washington and Oregon. White here is basically off the scale here. We're talking perhaps 50 inches or more. You can see even some output here showing 55 inches, 63 inches. Again, this is over the next 10 days. A major storm system just moves in off the Pacific Ocean into the northwestern states from later tomorrow into the day on Wednesday. And that significant snowfall extends all the way out through the Rocky Mountain states. Again, this is over the next 10 days. Meanwhile, you see a swath of decent snowfall here as we'll see a low-pressure trough just dives to the south and east. Some lake effect snows, and all the way in the northeast U.S. could be some significant snow in places like upstate New York, let's say from northeastern PA across upstate New York into interior New England later this week with that developing storm system. Again, it'll be a slow mover, and those higher elevation inland locations can get some significant early season accumulating snow. Upstate PA, upstate New York, interior New England. So a lot going on here over the next 10 days with respect to accumulating snow. Now let's take a look at the total liquid equivalent precipitation over the next 10 days. This can be rain, it can be snow. This is any combination of precipitation over the next 10 days. And look at these amounts here out across that Pacific Northwest. Anything in yellow here is a foot or more of precipitation. Again, total liquid equivalent precipitation over the next 10 days. So absolutely pounded from Northern California up across Washington and Oregon. Notice this area right here. That's associated with what remains of the tropical storm system that will kind of slide into the Gulf of Mexico as a weak depression. However, still will end up being quite a rainmaker here for the northern Gulf Coast region right here over the next few days. And meanwhile, decent amount of precipitation all the way from the Great Lakes into the northeast U.S. During that late week event. Again, rainfall moves into the mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. Wednesday night into early Thursday, but then there'll be instability, rain, maybe even some sleet, snow showers behind that storm system on Thursday and Friday. So decent amount of precipitation, probably a half an inch or more. Places like Philadelphia, New York City on Wednesday night into early Thursday, maybe a little bit lesser amounts across D.C. And any rainfall is much appreciated in this late week storm system because it's been very, very dry in the Mid-Atlantic region. Well, let's take a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps. Again, using last night's 0Z run of the GFS. All these maps, by the way, from tropicaltidbits.com. And you can see a lot of intense high latitude blocking, upper level ridges, and we at the same time, we'll see some deep upper level troughs. In other words, a lot of activity here over the next several days. Starting off here with intense high pressure centered this morning over northern Canada, Greenland, and also another one out over the Alaska, the Aleutian Islands, and all. A lot of troughiness too, extending from southwestern Canada into the interior Pacific Northwest, and another system down across the southwestern states. Now, let's move forward here in time. First of all, we'll see this feature right here, wrapping around again with deep upper level trough and intense high pressure here over the Aleutian Islands, moving into Alaska here. And this is at the time here late tomorrow night into the day on Wednesday, when a very powerful surface storm system slams into the Pacific Northwest. And again, all areas from Northern California into Washington and Oregon, southwestern Canada, significant coastal rains, significant inland snows, strong winds. This is a monster storm system. Meanwhile, take a look here. Again, intense high pressure ridging way above normal heights at the 500 millibar level for this time of the year by the middle of this week. And at the same time, there's another upper level trough, and this will become a deepening upper level trough. We'll move forward in time here. So you don't often see this kind of a pattern right here with this kind of intense activity, both in terms of highs and lows, and on this particular map, higher heights and lower heights compared to normal. This upper level trough deepens as it slides to the south and east and kind of rotates around. And both of these systems are slow movers because of this high latitude blocking here to the north. They just can't escape quickly up to the north. So this system will rotate around the northeastern states for an extended period of time. Again, impact really begins on Wednesday night and could last, in terms of the winds for sure, right through the upcoming weekend. Similarly, this will be a slow-moving system here out across the Pacific Northwest. Again, just tremendous high-latitude blocking off to the north here. We move forward in time. Here we go to the end of the work week, and this is when cold air really wraps into this system on Thursday and Friday, and certainly can get some accumulating snows. Again, upstate PA, upstate New York, interior New England here. A lot of blocking continues all across Canada, really from Alaska all the way into northeastern Canada and Greenland. Go out a little bit farther in time, and both of these systems finally relax a little bit by the middle time of the upcoming weekend. Now let's take a look again at the North America view at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies. And as you would expect with an active weather pattern, there will be some very warm areas compared to normal and some very cold areas. We start off the day here on Monday with much colder than normal conditions, extending all the way from Alaska down across the just off the west coast of Canada and the U.S., with well above normal temperatures from Hudson Bay region of Canada all the way into the central and eastern states. Now, let's kind of quickly walk through this. A lot of cold air associated with that storm system about to pound into the Pacific Northwest, and that will help to produce those very, very substantial snowfall amounts of several feet or more in some of those higher elevation locations from, let's say, Oregon down into the Sierra Nevada. Meanwhile, cold air mass starts to slide south and east by the middle of the week here into the middle part of the nation. This is associated with that deepening upper level trough, and it will help to contribute to that accumulating snow on Thursday night into the day on Friday. Upstate PA, upstate New York, interior New England will move forward in time here, and it's colder than normal here on Friday. Friday afternoon highs, for example, could be, let's say, in the middle 40s. A place like Philadelphia, that's at least 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. We'll go out a little bit farther in time, and that cold air mass kind of hangs around the mid-Atlantic region and northeastern states all the way into the latter part of the upcoming weekend. Yet another cold air mass starting to charge south and east from southwestern Canada into the northern central states here by the end of the upcoming weekend. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps, looking at the CONUS view here, the continental U.S. And again, two big systems to talk about here. Now, I started off here. Let's go back in time to this time frame right here, the Monday morning time frame here, and then we'll move forward here in time. Here we are beginning the day here on Monday morning here, and again, we'll watch out for two big storm systems here over the next several days. This first one already starting to show up with some precipitation, but this is really well ahead of the main system here. Some snow here, interior northwestern states, and some rain along the coast here, and quite a significant system here as we begin the day here on Monday morning right across the south and central states. Now, we'll move forward in time. That slides up to the north, but here we go out in the Pacific Northwest. We'll start to see the impact. And look at this isobar pattern right here. This is by Tuesday evening. Very tight pressure gradient. That is suggesting to me there will be some damaging winds, unfortunately, along the west coast here, the northwest coast, again from Northern California to Washington and Oregon coastline. Can easily see 50-plus mile per hour winds, maybe 60-plus mile per hour winds with this kind of a pressure gradient pattern. Meanwhile, over the northern Gulf Coast, this is what remains of the tropical storm system that is now over land over the Yucatan Peninsula region. Some of its energy makes its way, so a lot of its moisture makes its way into the Gulf of Mexico, and it becomes a significant rain producer, let's say from New Orleans to Apalachicola here by later tomorrow night into the day on Wednesday. Meanwhile, up to the north on this active weather map, we have that upper level trough that in surface low pressure area, significant storm system, 989 millibar low that's starting to charge to the south and east. We'll move a little bit forward in time. Intense rain, intense snow here. The rain indicated by yellows, the snow by dark blue here. This is by Wednesday morning. Again, some areas will get several feet, some of those higher elevation locations, several feet of snow with this particular storm system. Now, let's turn the attention to that storm over the south central U.S., and then it all shifts to the Great Lakes region by late Wednesday night. Here, later Wednesday into Wednesday night. Here is that band of rain that moves into places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. We're talking later Wednesday afternoon into early Thursday. Maybe a half an inch to an inch of rain north of the Mason-Dixon line, maybe a quarter to half an inch south of the Mason-Dixon line, place like D.C. Again, a pretty healthy rainfall, something we haven't seen in the Mid-Atlantic region in quite a long time. A little bit of an indication here. There'll be a secondary low pressure area forming. The initial low goes over the Great Lakes. Certainly can see some lake effect snows over the Great Lakes during the late week time period, and a secondary low does form right here off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Now, this is into Thursday morning. The cold air starts to really wrap into the system by this particular time, and we'll see here, we'll kind of rotate around here. This system kind of rotates around here for a couple of days, and you can see snow here showing up upstate New York, interior New England, and really that threat for snow will extend all the way from let's say northeastern Pennsylvania, places like the Poconos, Catskill Mountains, north central PA can get some accumulated snow in this pattern. It just sits around here and spins for a couple of days. This is all the way out to late Thursday night now. Because of that high latitude block and that intense upper level ridge over northeastern Canada, this is going nowhere fast. It's going to sit and spin for a couple of days. The remnants of that initial low right here, the Great Lakes low, and here's that secondary. Go out a little bit farther in time here, and just sits and spins. And notice a little kind of wraparound precipitation here all the way into the latter part of Friday. Even into the I-95 corridor region, there can be a few snowflakes or ice pellets mixed into these instability showers that I expect to see later Thursday night, even into the day on Friday. And again, upstate New York especially can get some significant accumulating snow with this particular setup here. We go all the way into the early part of the weekend, and notice pretty tight pressure gradient pattern continues all the way through much of the upcoming weekend. In other words, there will be strong northwest winds in the northeastern states on the backside of the storm system all the way from later Thursday through Saturday and even into the day on Sunday. with the slow movement of that storm system. A lot of precipitation still remains out across the Pacific Northwest as we begin the upcoming weekend. Finally, we'll go into the day on Sunday and look, still pretty tight pressure gradient pattern in the northeastern states all the way into Sunday. We'll see some strong northwest winds on the backside of that very slow-moving storm system. Meanwhile, second half of the weekend looks like some decent snowfall across places like the Dakotas and Montana. So a very active weather pattern for this week, and it looks like likely for next week as well. Two major storm systems impacting the corners of the U.S., the northwest corner and the northeast corner. First, the Pacific Northwest, all the way from Northern California through Washington and Oregon, get pounded from later tomorrow into the day on Wednesday. And then a big storm system, a slow-moving storm system, impacts the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. In that, let's say, Wednesday night all the way into the weekend time period. So a lot going on. Stay tuned to arcfieldweather.com for some updates later today and for the rest of the week. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.